Welcome to Lesson 11. Congratulations for coming so far into this quest. We have covered quite a bit. We've covered mindset, we've covered confidence, we've went into motivation, and right now we're going into pillar number 4. And this pillar is all about taking action and how to have true grit to make that dream a reality. And today I want to share with you my personal practices to beat procrastination, beat distraction, and be laser focused towards my goals. And first, I want to ask you a question. Do you think information is power? If you said yes, I do not agree with you. You see, information is everywhere. You can Google just about anything, and you can have information. You can read about healthy habits. That will not make you lose a pound. You can read a lot about entrepreneurship. That will not turn you into an entrepreneur. You know, information does not produce transformation. The only thing that really produces transformation is implementation. But there is something that usually stops us from implementing. And let's see if you know what I mean by this. It's a habit that looks a little bit like this. So you say you're going to start working out, and then when you're about to do it, you go, maybe next Monday. You say you're going to work on your business plan, and then you go, yeah, but let me just watch one more episode on Netflix. You say, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about procrastination. Here's the interesting thing about procrastination. And I want to say this loud and clear for all of us who suffer from procrastination. Procrastination has nothing to do with being lazy. It has nothing to do with it. So why do we procrastinate? Well, let's see. First, let me share with you one of my most embarrassing moments as a procrastinator. This happened not so long ago. I was working on my 3rd book for Penguin Random House, and I had to do the final edit of the book, and I had been procrastinating. Week after week, I told myself, next week, I'm going to do it next week. And then the timeline was, I was running really short. I had a deadline. I had 24 hours left to hand my manuscript to my editor. And so that day, I remember I said, this is the day. It gets done, no matter what. And so I talk to my husband and I tell him today's the day. It was a Sunday. Please take the kids off the house. I'm going to focus and concentrate. And so I remember I grabbed my computer. I take it to the living room. I put the computer there. I get all my things ready. You know how you need a lot of things to get started? Well, at least I do. So I get my water. I get my nuts. I have my green juice. And as I'm about to start typing and editing, out of the corner of my eye, I see a stain in one of the curtains in the living room. And not only do I see the stain, I can almost listen to the stain calling me, Florencia, come clean me. And so I tiptoe my way to the curtain. I look at it. I tiptoe my way back to the laundry room. I tiptoe my way back to the curtain with a bucket and things. And so I get up there, and as I'm about to unclip the curtain, I look around and I think, if I'm going to do this, let's do it right. So I unclip all the curtains in the living room. I set them on the floor. So by now, I'm not tiptoeing anymore. I'm going full force towards the laundry room and getting things back there. I'm setting all the curtains on the floor. I get on my knees. I do my thing in the hair. That means I'm in business. And as I am there, my husband walks in. He looks at me in disbelief and goes, woman, what exactly are you doing? And I tell him, I am cleaning the curtains. They were stained. Aren't you supposed to work on your edit today? Don't you have like 20 hours left before you hand it in? And I say, well, yes, but who can work with all these dirty curtains lying around? Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever been in a situation where you really need to get something done, but for some reason you suddenly feel an urge to go and clean the messy drawer in the kitchen? Why does that happen? Okay, there's 2 main reasons why we procrastinate. And let me repeat this. It is not about being lazy. The reason number 1 is because many times when you have to do something that is stressful for you, procrastination is a way in which your brain releases stress. So yes, it is protecting you. You see, your brain is designed to protect you from stress. And in that case, when I was doing that final edit of the book, I was so stressed out because in my mind, the dialogue was, what if this is the one book that fails? What if my editor doesn't like it? What if my readers think it's crap? And so that produces so much stress that you need to deal with those thoughts. What I like to do, if you ever find yourself in this situation, what I like to do is turn the what if game, because the brain loves playing what if. What if I fail? What if they say no? What if they hate me? What if? I like to play in a different way. I like to say, what if it works? What if I succeed? What if they love what I do? So play with your mind, all right? Now, the second reason why we procrastinate is because we get very easily distracted. And we live in a world today where it is more difficult than ever to be focused. There's distractions absolutely everywhere. So it's very difficult for our brains to stay focused. And because I struggle so much with this, I built a personal protocol that I like to call the anti-procrastination protocol. And there's a few things I do, and I want to share with you because I think they are very useful. First thing I do, I usually block out 2 hours of my day that I call the undistractable period. And I like to do it from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. And I know you might call me crazy, but here's what I found. In those 2 hours, I get so much more done than in the rest of the day. There's no meetings, nobody's calling me, there's no one asking for things. So make sure you have at least an hour a day where you have no distractions. The second thing I like to do is that I like to use my cell phone as a reward, because I do find it so distractive that what I do is when I'm working on something, I will put the cell phone on the other corner of the room, and I tell myself, when I'm done with this task, I can go and check my phone for a few minutes. So use it as a reward. The third thing I like to do is I like to have someone in my team holding me accountable. So even if I am the boss, let's call it that way, I have people in my team who I tell them, please keep me accountable. If I said I would do something, come and remind me, I don't see it as a sign of weakness. I see it as a sign of power. So you can do that too. And another tool that I really like is I call it the 2-minute rule. So when I really do not want to do something, I tell myself, I'm only going to do it for 2 minutes. Whatever that is. It could be like doing push-ups. It could be working on an edit. It could be working on a script, whatever that is. Florencia, only do it for 2 minutes. And I set a timer. And you might think, well, what is 2 minutes going to help you with? See, the research finds that 80% of the people who just get started doing something will keep going. So most of the times you can beat procrastination just by getting started. And the last thing I like to use is I have a sign next to my laptop that says, done is better than perfect. And this is very simple, but it's a constant reminder that you better get things done than aim for perfection, because then you'll never get them done. On a very deep level, there's another layer to beating procrastination, which has to do with the big difference between being interested in something and being committed. And we have touched upon this in previous lessons. But what does commitment really look like? I want to share a short story with you about Kobe Bryant that I found fascinating. So once a journalist was writing a story on him, and so he's following him around in one of his tours, and he approaches Kobe and says, hey, Kobe, do you mind if I come watch you train? Can I come and watch you train in the gym? And Kobe says, yeah, sure, come. Okay, what time are you training tomorrow? And he says, come at 4. Okay, right. So the journalist goes back home. He's going through his schedule and he says, oh no, there's a mistake here. He told me to come and watch him at 4, but he has a game at 4:30. This is not possible. So he goes back to Kobe and says, hey, you told me 4, but 4:30 you have a game. And Kobe smiles and says, oh, I meant 4 a.m. And the journalist says, oh, okay, 4 a.m. And then he thinks, I'm going to impress Kobe. I'm going to come to the gym at 3:30 a.m. So I'm going to be there before him. He arrives to the gym. It was a night and it was cold, and he arrives there and he sees that the lights are on. He goes, peeps, and he sees Kobe Bryant in full sweat. So he had been training for a long time. He walks over to him after watching him train for 2 hours. And he says, Kobe, how come you're still practicing all these boring moves that, it looks like you're a beginner when you're practicing like this. Why would you do this at 4 a.m. in the morning? And he smiles and says, well, yeah, this is boring, but I'm committed to becoming the best version of myself. And I know that means doing boring stuff sometimes. All right, so we're talking about commitment. We're talking about beating procrastination. I have shared with you my personal protocol to beat procrastination, and now I want you to make your own protocol. I want you to build your own personal anti-procrastination protocol. And maybe you want to choose some of the things I shared, or maybe you want to build your own. Let me quickly remind you the things that I like to do to beat procrastination. Number 1, book undistracted period of time. I do it from 5 to 7 a.m. You can do it whenever you want. 2, use your phone as a reward. Tell yourself, I'm only going to use it after I get this done. 3, have someone hold you accountable. It can be someone from your team, someone from your family. 4, make sure you have a sign that says something similar to done is better than perfect. And remember the 2-minute rule. Which of these would you include in your personal anti-procrastination protocol? Our next lesson, I can't wait to share with you what is coming up, because I'm going to share with you what I did to go from having 0 followers, 0 books, being totally unknown in a new market, to building a solid brand in 9 months. So mark this lesson as complete, and I'll see you in the next one, where I'll be teaching you how to do these big moves and how to move the ball forward in your business and in your life.